Every year, when my birthday rolled around, I hoped for at least a little acknowledgement, a cake, maybe even a warm hug from my family. But that was never the case. It became a painful tradition in my household. My birthday was forgotten. No decorations, no cake, no dinner, not even a simple, happy birthday. Meanwhile, just a few weeks later, my brother's birthday was treated like a royal event. My parents would throw him lavish parties with balloons, expensive cakes, catered food, live music, and an endless line of guests. They'd spend thousands just to make sure he felt like the most important person in the world, while I sat in the shadows, pretending it didn't hurt. Every year I told myself, maybe next year will be different. Maybe this time they'll remember me. But the truth was, they never did. My brother, Daniel, was always the golden child. He was the star athlete, the straight-A student, the one my parents bragged about to every relative and neighbor. I, on the other hand, was the quiet one, the bookworm, the kid who never caused trouble but also never seemed to shine brightly enough in their eyes. It wasn't that I didn't try. I worked hard in school, I even got accepted into advanced classes, but no matter what I did, Daniel was the center of attention. And my birthday was the clearest reminder of just how invisible I was to them. When I turned 16, they forgot again. I sat in my room that night, staring at the cheap cupcake I had bought for myself with my allowance, a single candle flickering in the dark. I whispered, "Happy birthday" to me, and blew it out. I didn't cry, I was past tears at that point, but something in me hardened. I made a promise to myself. One day, I wouldn't let them walk all over me. One day, I'd show them that I mattered. The final straw came on my 18th birthday. That morning, I came downstairs quietly, almost daring to hope. 18 is a milestone, right? Surely, they couldn't forget this one. But when I walked into the kitchen, I was greeted by nothing but silence. My mom was scrolling on her phone, my dad was reading the newspaper, and Daniel was talking about how excited he was for his birthday party coming up in 2 weeks. I cleared my throat and said softly, "Good morning." Nobody even looked up. I waited for someone to notice, to say something, anything. But they didn't. Later that afternoon, I overheard them discussing Daniel's party. My dad was on the phone with a catering company, my mom was talking about decorations, and Daniel was bragging to his friends about how epic it was going to be. That was it. The last nail in the coffin. I realized in that moment that they weren't just forgetting my birthday, they simply didn't care. So I came up with a plan. If they wanted to ignore me, fine. But this year, I wasn't going to sit quietly while they celebrated Daniel like a king. I was going to make sure they never forgot my birthday again, and I'd do it in a way they wouldn't see coming. For the next 2 weeks, I carefully prepared. I didn't have much money, but I had time, brains, and a burning desire for payback. I hacked into the email my parents used to send out party invitations and subtly changed a few details. Instead of the address leading to our house, I redirected the location to an old community hall across town. I also canceled some of the catering orders and replaced them with ridiculous items, like 50 pizzas with anchovies, knowing Daniel hated them. But my favorite part of the plan was the cake. I contacted the bakery my mom had ordered from and changed the inscription. Instead of, "Happy birthday, Daniel," the giant cake would now read, "Happy birthday to the forgotten child." When the day of Daniel's big party arrived, I sat quietly in my room, pretending not to care. Guests began arriving at the wrong location, confused and calling my parents in frustration. My mom's phone blew up with messages, "We're here, but nobody else is. Are we in the right place?" My dad grew increasingly angry as he realized something had gone terribly wrong. Meanwhile, at our house, only a handful of people managed to figure out the correct location, and even they were annoyed. The catering didn't show up as planned, but those 50 anchovy pizzas did. The smell alone was unbearable. And then came the cake. When the bakery van pulled up, my mom rushed outside, relieved that at least the dessert had arrived. She brought it in, smiling, and placed it proudly on the table. Daniel, surrounded by the few guests who had managed to come, leaned over to admire it. The moment they lifted the lid, silence fell over the room. In bright, bold letters, it read, "Happy birthday to the forgotten child." Gasps filled the air. My mom's face went pale, my dad's jaw clenched, and Daniel exploded, shouting, "What the hell is this?" That was my cue. I walked downstairs, calm and collected, all eyes turning toward me. "Oh," I said innocently, "looks like someone finally remembered me." There was a heavy pause. My parents looked at me with shock and anger, Daniel glared like he wanted to kill me, and the guests whispered among themselves, piecing it all together. My dad barked, "What did you do?" I tilted my head and smiled. "I just thought it was time you all acknowledge the child you've ignored for 18 years. Every year, you threw Daniel these massive parties while pretending my birthday didn't exist. This time, I decided to give myself a little gift." Daniel shouted, "You ruined everything." I shrugged. "Welcome to my world." The room was tense. Some guests looked uncomfortable, others sympathetic. One of my relatives, an aunt who had always been kind to me, even spoke up. "Honestly, she's right. You've treated her like she doesn't matter. Maybe it's about time you heard how she feels." That support gave me courage. For the first time in my life, I let it all out. I told everyone in that room about the years of neglect, the forgotten birthdays, the loneliness of sitting alone while my family celebrated Daniel in grand style. My voice shook at first, but then it grew stronger. By the end, you could hear a pin drop. My parents were furious, embarrassed in front of everyone. They tried to defend themselves, but the truth was undeniable. Guests started leaving, muttering about how shameful it was. Daniel stormed upstairs, slamming his door. The party was ruined, and for once, it wasn't my birthday that was forgotten, it was his celebration that had been destroyed. That night, my parents confronted me. They yelled, they scolded, they accused me of humiliating them on purpose. And you know what? I didn't back down. I told them I was done being invisible. I told them if they couldn't love and celebrate me the way they did Daniel, then they didn't deserve me in their lives at all. Then I walked out. I stayed with my aunt for a while after that. She was the only one who had truly supported me, and she told me she was proud of me for standing up for myself. Slowly, I began to realize that I didn't need my parents' validation. I didn't need their parties or their attention. I was strong enough on my own. And that was the real revenge, not just ruining Daniel's big day, but finally freeing myself from years of neglect. Months later, my parents tried to reach out. They sent half-hearted apologies, saying they didn't realize how much their actions had hurt me. But I didn't let them back into my life easily. I made it clear that if they wanted a relationship with me, they'd have to earn it. No more favoritism. No more neglect. No more pretending. I deserved better, and I wasn't afraid to demand it anymore. Looking back now, I don't regret what I did. Some people might say I went too far, but they don't know what it's like to be forgotten year after year by the people who are supposed to love you most. That night, when the cake revealed the truth for everyone to see, I finally took back my power. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible.